This morning is what's good. I got to sleep in until like 7. I did yoga. Now I'm sipping on some coffee, smoking a joint, and talking to you. That's a good morning to me. That's a really good morning. The topic of today's video: weaponizing epistemology and metaphysics for division and domination. Now that's a lot. I get it. Let's unpack it. Epistemology can be very simply defined as the nature of knowledge. How do we know what we know? What do we know? Things like that, right? Extremely complicated concept and subject and subjective. And that's a key element here, is that it is subjective. Even though some people might say it is objective, I'm hesitant to say that there are very many objective truths. So I believe that there's a lot of subjectivity to reality, which clouds the concept of the nature of knowledge. If you know that people's acquisition to knowledge is clouded by so many variables, what is truth essentially? Like, how do you answer that question? I think about that all the time. That's epistemology in a nutshell. Metaphysics is the nature of reality. So this time-space continuum we seem to be operating in, whether that's a program, a holographic simulation, whether matter is real or not, that's metaphysics. And so how are these being weaponized to divide us and to dominate over us? I would simply suggest that these are actually the fuels for a lot of the culture war. The social engineers are using these elements of subjectivity to intentionally create conflict amongst peoples of different backgrounds and belief systems. For example, atheists versus Christians. The social engineers know that they can rile up one side to then agitate the other side and create this perpetual frustration cycle, this perpetual division cycle. And those are not the only two examples. Think of any two groups with diametrically opposing views. The social engineers know that they can use this difference in beliefs to divide people. And when you pair that with an extraordinarily fascist socioeconomic system that is increasingly making it harder and harder to thrive in a timeline where abundance is the actual truth, the actual reality, but they use this scarcity mindset, fear-based programming to control large portions of the population into being authoritarians for the greater objective of the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset, a global consolidation of power and resources in the hands of the few, the elites. And here's the thing, is that each country has its own sort of set of elites. It's not like the elites are one group of ethnicity or one gender. No, they all are playing a game that we're not. We're pawns in their game. And I often reference how I get frustrated with the Antifa people and the extreme left wing people, because I actually agree with a lot of their diagnoses of what's going on. Where we differ is the solution. But that's intentional. That is part of the programming. The social engineers have this class of people, the useful idiots, that they can use to rile up support for whatever cause they want. So let's take the vaccine mandates is like the best recent example. A lot of people became tyrants and nasty. A lot of people displayed their evil. A lot of people became bootlickers. They did the bidding of the state or of effectively the elites, the ruling class. The state is just another mechanism or apparatus that these oligarchs use. But through hijacking someone's belief system, through manipulating their metaphysical reality, they programmed people to become tyrants. That is how epistemology and metaphysics can be weaponized for division and domination. They put out so much misinformation. So when we're talking about the nature of knowledge, epistemology, and false information is flooding the information ecosphere intentionally to scare people, to divide people, to get people to support pushing fascism, which is what the vaccine mandates were. And that's not the only reason I believe this country is fascist. Like that's just a perfect, like literally a perfect example. And I'll talk just super briefly, I think, because I got a few minutes to kill before I got to head out. But like the trans thing is another example of how epistemology and metaphysics can be manipulated to divide for domination purposes. Whatever your position on that is, it's subjective. When you question the first principles of the nature of reality, which is the ultimate goal of metaphysics, you get to a level of how do you know what is truth? And this is where I'm seeing a scary rise in religion to justify, or people are being drawn into religion because they cannot intuitively or intellectually support some of their views and positions, and they're, because of the fear-based programming, seeing a group that is providing answers and providing some source of cognitive stability, and so they're returning to the church as a psychological comfort mechanism in a way. I've seen this among a lot of my friends, and I'm not trying to criticize them yet. But the trans topic is it's relevant here because I'm trying to tread as delicately as I can, but a lot of people believe that there are men and that there are women. A lot of people who previously were not religious believed that. It was just sort of a cultural understanding. There was always an understanding that anomalies exist. Absolutely, anomalies exist. But with how crazy the trans agenda has become, and it's not even the trans agenda, these people are being used to create fear and division amongst the population. So people who historically weren't religious are experiencing so much cognitive dissonance that religion is now providing an answer for in a lot of ways. In addition to just the sheer amount of evil we've faced over the last few years that has been just blatantly out in the open, people are looking for cognitive stability. Because to openly say I don't know what truth is very difficult to do. Because if you don't know what truth is, how can you know what anything is? But that's kind of how I feel. I don't really know what the ultimate objective truth is. I say in a lot of my videos that I'm not a Christian, but I'm also against a lot of this woke shit because it's whatever truth is, this woke stuff is not even on the path to truth. It is clearly intentionally the opposite of a path towards truth in order to manipulate the masses into supporting the Great Reset, the global consolidation effort. And this has happened throughout history like several times. Governments always try to amass more power and consolidate power. This is nothing new. We have ample evidence to support the notion that governments always try to grow and consolidate. Always, always, always. And such a powerful way to do that is to keep people fighting amongst each other so they can pass their laws and then so they can poison us and they can throw up all these smoke screens and misdirections and false flags and make you question your reality and your sanity. It's a vicious, vicious cycle. And I'm sorry if you've been affected by it. We all have. But hopefully you can wake up. Thank you for listening. Much love.